name is Beck and welcome to the end of year book tag. I believe this tag was created by Ariel Bissett because I saw it on her channel, but if it's not created by her, I'll obviously leave all the links to the creator and the videos down below, as well as Ariel's video where I saw this tag. But let's get right into it and look at my TBR shame, shall we? So the first question is, are there any books you started this year that you still need to finish? And I have one that I definitely know of, and that is Nightblood by Ellie Blake. This is the third book in her young adult fantasy series, and the first book is Frostblood, and then it's Fireblood, and then obviously Nightblood's the third book. I started this like in May, I think, and I got distracted by a readathon and then put it down and haven't picked it up, and it's been sitting on my Goodreads ever since. So this is one that I definitely need to get on board with finishing very soon because the end of the year is coming up. So I'm aware of it, it's been sitting there mocking me on my Goodreads, and it's just time to finish it. It's fairly easy to finish and it's a lot of fun, and I didn't put it down because I didn't enjoy it, I just put it down because I was distracted. I will complete this series this year, mark my words. The second question is, do you have an autumnal book that you can transition into for the end of the year? And because I'm in Australia and it's currently spring going into summer, no, I don't, but that's why I'm doing Contemporary-a-thon at the moment, so that I can read some contemporary books on my TBR, because I usually gravitate to fantasy and science fiction, and they can be kind of heavier topics or more detailed things, and when it's hot, I know it's hard to concentrate, so it's nice to read something that's easier to get invested in, and that's why I want to read some contemporary books on my TBR. The next question is there a new release that you're still waiting for? And actually, yes, there are several books that are coming out towards the end of the year. I know there's one coming out by Rick Riordan, the next in his Trials of Apollo series, and I'm really looking forward to that because I love Rick's writing. And there's also Starsight, which is the sequel to Skyward by one of my favourite authors ever, Brandon Sanderson. That is a young adult sci-fi coming out at the 26th of November, I believe is the Australian release date, so just before Christmas. I'm also really looking forward to and anticipating Ninth House by Leigh Bardugo, and I know that comes out in October, and I don't usually get too hyped up for her releases because I haven't read her Shadow and Bone series, but I did read Six of Crows and Crooked Kingdom last year, and I really loved them. I gave them 5 out of 5 stars each, and I really enjoyed those audiobooks. So if you haven't read them yet, jump on the audiobooks because there's like 5 or 6 narrators for each book, and they just do the characters so well, so would recommend the audiobooks. But I haven't really got behind her new release, I think it's King of Scars, just because I haven't read her backlist, so I'm not really that interested in it. But yeah, definitely Ninth House, and the reason I'm looking forward to that is because it is an adult fantasy, urban fantasy, and it's got a murder mystery at its heart, and that sounds like something that is definitely up my alley, especially because the protagonist in that series, or in that book, is older, so they're not in their teens, they're in their 20s like me. Ninth House is on my watch until it comes out and then snap it up list. The next question is, what are 3 books that you want to read before the end of this year? And I have quite a few of them. I don't have that many left from my priority reads video, but I do know that The Song of Achilles is on there, and I don't know if I'm going to get to that one. I do have Rogues, which is edited by George R.R. Martin, and that has like a myriad of different fantasy authors in it. Quite well-renowned ones like Joe Abercrombie, for example. I think Patrick Rothfuss as well. So I've had that audiobook kind of sitting on my account for a little bit of time, and I've just kind of ignored it because it's at least 30 hours long, and that's a fairly big audiobook, even though I can break it up into bite-sized chunks because it's a novella collection. I've just been avoiding it because overall it looks like it's big and intimidating. And I also have A Clash of Kings by George R.R. Martin. I said at the beginning of the year that I'd read the second book in his Game of Thrones series, and I haven't done that yet. I think that's because I haven't really had a consistent work commute or work travel to do, so I haven't been listening to audiobooks as consistently as I was last year. So I think that's fallen by the wayside a little bit, and I have tried reading that book physically twice, and I get up to about like 100 pages, 120 pages, and then I just stop. So I definitely need to do the audiobook. I think that's going to be fairly unavoidable, but that's definitely one that I haven't picked up this year that I want to, and I'm a little bit hesitant about saying that I will because I don't think I'm going to get to it. But we'll see. We'll see. The next question is there a book that you think could still shock you and become the favourite book of the year? I don't think so. I've been a little bit ruthless when it comes to the books that I'm reading, and if I don't like the first in a series or it's not my favourite and it doesn't get 4 stars or above, then I generally unhaul it because I don't want it to clutter my to-be-read pile. I recently did that with Half a King, unfortunately. Even though I like Joe Abercrombie's adult stuff, I just didn't love his young adult stuff. I didn't hate it, but I didn't love it and it didn't become a new favourite, so I got rid of it. I couldn't be bothered getting invested into a series if I don't adore the first book. And I did that with Unwind as well. So it's kind of been a little bit of a, I guess, a tradition for this year for me to do, to get rid of books if I don't like them that much, which is actually fairly therapeutic when I do it because it cuts down on my to be read pile and I can see the number decreasing. But there's still 2 books this year that are coming out by 2 of my absolutely favorite authors. So there's Crownbreaker by Sebastian de Castell, and that is the last book in his Spellslinger series, which I've got here. I love this series to death. I'm definitely going to reread it. I'm going to reread Traitor's Blade, which is his adult series as well. So this one comes out, I think it's October. If it's not, I'll put the release date on the screen because I need this book so badly. I need this next book. So that is one of them. And then obviously Starsight by Brandon Sanderson is the other one. So those are my 2 major books that are probably going to become favorites of the year, because every other book so far in those series I've given 5 stars each. So it makes sense that I give those 2 new releases 5 stars as well. And then the last question on this reading tag is, have you started making reading plans for next year yet? And I actually have. I've picked out about 5 or 6 books that I want to prioritize for reading next year. So I've cut down the list a lot because I'm aware that I haven't been reading as much this year and I don't want a repeat of that next year, and I don't want to feel disappointed. I want to feel accomplished. So I've cut my list down. I've got about 5 books to talk about in a new video that's probably going to be up at the start of next year. So it's a little way off yet, but I have started to consider it. And I also want to do some more rereading next year because I read a lot of hyped up series last year, and I think that's why I had such an amazing reading year. And then this year, because I'd got all those hyped series off my list, all my favorites disappeared. So that's why I've started to get into a slump, I think. So because of that, I want to revisit some old favorites and keep not the passion alive, but just keep the hunger alive to devour books, because that's waxed and waned a little bit during this year and I want to get that back. So I'll definitely be rereading books next year. And that is it for the reading tag. Let me know if you've made some plans for next year, because I'd love to hear what you're thinking about reading next year. I'm always interested in what you guys are reading, so leave a comment down below and I'd love to chat with you. Thank you so much for watching this reading tag. If you want to do it, then consider yourself tagged, and I will catch you in my next video. Bye.